Hi there everyone, welcome to this webinar, slightly different to any others that you may have attended. This webinar is about preparing for World Book Day, getting everything ready, using Education City to support you in supporting your students on World Book Day. I personally, as an adult and as an ex-teacher, love World Book Day. I think it's a fantastic day. Kids can really express themselves. They can sort of dress up the favorite books, favorite characters. They can really sort of get involved and share their loves, their likes, their dislikes, sort of what they want to share with everybody else as well. So for me personally, I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. This webinar is going to be slightly unusual because you'll notice there isn't an agenda, and that's because I've chosen one of my favourite books, and I'm just going to show you a couple of resources surrounding that and how you can find your own resources sort of in that sort of way. Now, if you haven't read it already, if you don't have a copy already, go out and buy a copy of The Worst Princess. It's brilliant. It's so good. I think you'll even find YouTube videos of people reading the book that you can use, but it's such a good book. Basically about this princess Sue. She's locked in a tower, as every other princess is. She's waiting for her prince to come along. Now she's read all the books about being a good princess. She knows what she's ready for, and she's just waiting. One day her prince comes along, she gets really excited about going and exploring everywhere and going on adventures with her prince until they get to his castle, and the prince locks her in one of the towers there and asks her to get dressed in these fluffy, pretty dresses, sort of change her hair, change who she is. So she befriends a local dragon who happens to be very sort of glamorous and likes drinking tea. And she starts to go on her own adventures. She works with the dragon to destroy the kingdom, and she goes touring the world with her dragon friend. Now, the reason why I love this book so much is that it is fantastic for demolishing stereotypes. Stereotypes about a princess. She's not a princess at all. She's in fact the worst princess. And there's a really good page, about 3 pages in. There's a picture of her sitting on this pile of books that she's read about being a princess. And she's sat there and she's got messy hair and she's got messy dress on. You can see her bloomers. And she's got on her feet what I can only describe as yellow Converse. She's not like all the other princesses, and that's what makes her unique. And it's the same with the prince as well. The prince talks about all these beasts that he's slain, when in fact in the picture it shows bunny rabbits and squirrels. So it's that kind of, he's not a brave prince like all the princes that you read about in the fairy tales. He is in fact not very brave at all, and he's just trying to find a princess to keep in his tower. And even down to the dragon, who isn't fierce and who isn't scary, but likes a cup of tea in a china teapot. You know, he's really sort of eloquent in who he is. So this is why I love this book so much. It really does break down every stereotype there possibly is. It's brilliant. I love it. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment and head into Education City. And remember, that's go.educationcity.com. As always, the account I'm using is a made-up school and it is English as well. So certain areas might seem quite unfamiliar to you if you're joining me today from outside of England. But don't worry, I will point out those areas as we work our way through. So educationcity.com, here we are logged into my account. There we go. Now, if you're using the classic homepage, that's absolutely fine. I prefer this view, so you can always click on the ribbon just there to come to this view if you wish to. Now, starting off with, I'm going to head over to the search button. That's the top right-hand corner just there. This is fantastic for searching and just seeing what Education City has on offer. So we could start with something like a character profile. Do you remember that picture that I told you about? See if I can spell, there we go. That picture I told you about of the worst princess Sue sitting on that pile of books, looking all scruffy, you know, sticking that in the middle of the page and writing descriptive phrases or descriptive words around her. What sort of person is she? What could she be? And you can really easily build a character profile from that. We've got loads of tools about characters and character profiles. If I scroll down here just to show you one, I think it's of mine that I really do like. You'll see you've got here, I love reading books. When I'm reading, I pretend that I'm one of the characters. If you could be a character from any book, who would you be and why? So something like this, great for sort of prep for World Book Day. Who would you be and why? Anyone they can think of, and children come up with the best reasons as to why they want to be different characters. I once had a boy dress up as Augustus Gloop from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. When I asked him why he was dressed up like Augustus Gloop, he said he couldn't think of anything better than swimming in a chocolate river. Fair enough, it's up to you. Everybody has their own takes on stories that they read. So, you know, fair enough, go with that. And we've got obviously got the question here. We've got the answer that Stig has given. Strangely enough, leads very well into the worst princess, because you've got Prince Stig, you've got a dragon just there, and it talks about Princess Clara needing rescuing. And then you've got there as well, that sort of next step. Does your character do what it should in your story? Does it do the right thing? Does it do the wrong thing? What does it do? So again, it's that sort of whole PSHE, SMSCH link as well there. Does it do the right thing? How do you know that? Explain to me. And obviously this is a Think It, so it does come with Think It printables. I find it, there it is, just there. And it's got the question at the top with the lines underneath for students to write their answers. So book ready, all done for you. All you've got to do is print it out for the students to fill in. So really, really handy tool. And as I mentioned, things like character profiles, as well as looking at sort of characters in general. You see, we've got some cross-curricular resources there to Henry VIII, but you can use this as the model for creating a character profile about your favourite character. Or just a character that you're interested in. Again, I once had my year 4 boys all come dressed on World Book Day as the boy in the dress, purely because they wanted to see what it felt like wearing a dress. So it's entirely up to you. I love World Book Day. So obviously you've got this search, you can search by those keywords, key phrases that you are looking for. If there's something a little bit more particular, I do recommend using the curriculum map. Obviously everything is mapped to the curriculum that you follow on Education City. So in terms of England, this is mapped to the National Curriculum 2014. You can see that just there. Really easily, I can find my year group. I can find the units that I'm looking for, and I can find the objective. This is the one I'm after, including fairy stories. And we've got the tools there that meet that requirement. Things like, what is the moral? You know, looking at books such as The Worst Princess, what's the moral of this story? To be yourself. Don't bother about what anybody else thinks. Be you. Be the real you. You don't have to fit these stereotypes. So, you know, something like that, or even comparing stories. Having that kind of comparison maybe between The Worst Princess and a Disney princess. What are the similarities? What are the differences between the two? And again, we can always head back over and switch between those different ways of searching. and find something like, here we go, Princess and the Pea fairy tale features. Looking at something like that, the features of a fairy tale, what implies that the worst princess isn't actually a fairy tale? What's a bit different about it? It could be the language, it could be the princess themselves, it could be the prince even, or sort of the magical creatures that are involved. You've got those resources, so useful to have. And say you can see there, you've got the activity and you've also got that activity sheet. Once upon a time, that's so traditional of fairy tales, isn't it? That's not quite the same for the worst princess, but I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you look for yourselves. Even down to looking at things like, there we go, scrolling down here, we've got some great comparative work that you can use. And this is an activity that discusses different events, the meaning of these different events. But it's got two stories. Nick the Knight, you know, he's a knight, he lives in a castle. This is his story. And you can sort of read through those with your students, or even ask your students to read each page out like so. There we go. And we've got Flight for Freedom, which is about Clara's budgie. So about Nick not being happy as a knight, he wants to change, he wants something a bit different, but realizes at the end that actually he is happy being a knight. And you've got Flight for Freedom, about Clara's budgie that flies away. And, you know, she's unhappy that her budgie flies away because she loves that budgie. What happens is that actually the budgie comes back to her. So, you know, you've got those two stories. They're very similar in a lot of ways, but they're also very different. And you do have the questions at the end because it is an activity. You've got the questions there, and remember that gets marked for you as well. Final way of searching is obviously the subjects area. You see just there the little pencil and ruler icon, and this way is really handy in terms of searching for the specific tool that you need. Now this might appear slightly differently if you're joining me from outside of England. Obviously this might say literacy and numeracy. And the order of year groups or the names of the year groups might appear slightly differently to you as well, but they all do the same thing. They all start at the youngest in the school to the oldest in the school, just there. And I'm just going to head into lower key stage 2, which is P4, P5 in Scotland, and just give you an example of the videos that we have. Now, these aren't just any old videos, these are actually our reading comprehension videos just there. And you can see we've got some cross-curricular historical or geographical links there as well. And for each of these, what you'll find is you can open those up. You've got the video that the students can listen to. And then within the activity sheet, they can follow along from the words from the video, and it'll have questions underneath for students to complete. So you've got some really good reading comprehension resources in there as well. And that is available in other year groups. It's just that, you know, I went down the middle, just went down the middle there to show you those different resources. But do have a look for them as well. What you'll find is you can head into one of the tool types and you've got resources for reading, and you've got sort of, this one's a really good one, Book It, which is about favourite genres. And we've got our brand new added PSHE, SMSCH content as well, because if we are exploring stereotypes and breaking stereotypes and being who we are, that does sort of have an element of SMSCH about it. And you can always do my favourite thing, use the search content area, have a look for PSHE. It's a quick link just there, and have a look for our new PSHE content in terms of who we are, how we feel about certain things, because what might make one person happy might not make somebody else happy. And within that new PSHE content, you will find the Story of My Life series. Now, this is brand new series. It's so good. You've got 4 of those. So story of my life, you can see there 1 to 4. And these talk about different situations and how you might feel in different situations, how you might react, and whether or not that has happened to you. Within each of these stories, there are 6 different individual stories as well. So you've got a lot of them that you can be working with. If I do quick maths, what's that? 1, 6, 2, 12, 2, 3, 18, 4, 6, so 24 little stories that you can talk about with your class. And you'll see things like talking about yourself, talking about what you like, loads of things in there, loads of really useful things in there, including how we feel and how point of view changes. What might make you happy might make somebody else unhappy, and the morals of certain things as well, leading back to what we were talking about earlier. So that is just about it from me. As I said, I've just shown you a glimpse, a tiny view of the amount of resources we have that can support you through World Book Day. I do find the search content is really handy, but do have a look on the curriculum map if you want something really specific, or the subjects area if you want to see what range of specific resources are available per year group or per subject area. So, any questions for me at all? I can't see any at the moment. Having a quick look there, but don't worry, because if you do think of anything later on, you can always get in touch. It's customer service at educationcity.com. That's customer service at educationcity.com. You can send us any emails that you might have regarding any questions that you have, any feedback that you have, or any success stories that you have about using Education City. Maybe you can log on to our Facebook page or our Twitter page and tell us what you're dressing up as for World Book Day. I certainly will be dressing up. I'm not going to tell you as what yet. You'll have to wait and see. I do hope to see you all at the future webinars, but until then, take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.